Lichéesh Satini Johan Ţukaháa Hati Adi Yaya Gitsa Achtu Lichéesh Satini. Good to see you all. Thank you for coming here today as well. It feels good to see you guys. So let's go ahead and jump right in.
Just verbally, Gánaíoch for your grace, and I'm sorry that I had technical difficulties last week, and I'm committed to sorting it out and being really consistent, and just apologize that that impacted all of your learning.
Yeah, between me forgetting to record the other week and then us not being able to get into Zoom, we're working out our kinks, so thanks for sticking with us. This is your reminder that when you level up and step into a role that is new to you, you're gonna make mistakes, and so Gánaíoch for sticking it out with us as Ati and I kind of level up our contributions in terms of our role here with you. So today is week 3, Friday, November 18th. And welcome back to class. On the menu for this morning, I'll have a few class announcements. We'll do a quick recap from our last conversation, and I'll open it up for questions and answers. I like to have a normal flow between you and I as a student body, so that if you have questions, I know what they are, and we'll kind of start class that way each week. We have some fun activities lined up for you. We'll work on pronunciation, and then we'll jump into the beginning Tlingit workbook. This will be a pretty regular part of our study. Moving forward, based on our conversations and your goals, I'm going to start assigning pretty distinct homework so that you know what you can be working on to level up on your own time outside of class. We have a discussion about new study habits, what has worked for me, and then we'll talk about your homework. So before we jump into questions, quick announcement. Next week is Thanksgiving. So I know most folks are traveling to be by family and have Thursday and Friday off from work. And so I requested that we cancel class next Friday so that if you're home with your families, I want you to be able to take that time without having an obligation to jump on Zoom. However, since I still want to provide you with some class, we will hold it on Wednesday, November 23rd at 9 a.m. And if you can't make it, that's fine. Just check out the recording when you're able to. Second announcement is, we'll talk about it more, but please consider starting a study group. This can be something that's really small. When I was in beginning Tlingit, my first week, my study group was just 2 people, and then a 3rd person showed up. It was just someone I was comfortable with. And so I kind of want to just get you thinking about that. You don't have to, formalize it today or even by next week, but just start thinking about who would you study with and what time would work for you. And we'll talk more about that. Before we move on, are there any questions so far? Okay. Just feel free to raise your hand or unmute your mic if you do have a question. So let's recap from last week. Some folks weren't able to make it because you had another very important training. And then I forgot to record, but some of the things I took away from that conversation that I did want to share with you were questions from the class. And one of them was, what study habits have helped you advance? Another question was, how do we break through to the next level when we've plateaued? And both these questions are really good. and we're going to continue talking about them. I might not necessarily answer all these questions right now, but I've made space in our class moving forward to address these. And then the third question I really liked, how do we progress from saying a single noun to describing it in a complete sentence? So keep these questions in mind. I've sort of designed our class today to answer some of these, and what these questions tell me is that you're ready to start speaking, you're ready to start making it second nature and using the language. So that's really the avenue that we'll be using going forward. That being said, we'll start some drills. So last week we did start drills. When I studied Japanese in college, we had 2-hour-long classes per week and 3-hour-long drill sessions per week. And man, I would be dripping sweat because our sensei would be asking us questions around the room and you had to be able to answer, which meant you had to study, you had to know the vocabulary. And they were intense, but they were also kind of fun. I'm going to dial back the intensity, but mostly just making room for you to internalize knowledge and apply it and start making it part of your speech. So if we have time today, we'll get to drills. Any questions? Okay. So first off, let's work on some pronunciation. Have folks practiced the vowels before? Seen some head nods. Okay, cool.
Yes, and a little refresher is always good, but yes.
Okay, that's good to hear. Okay. So we'll review the vowels. On the slide, I took a screenshot of one of the pages at the beginning Can Get workbook, and we'll take a look at that today so you can use it as a resource. I have a video you can practice with at home. I'll link it at the end of class. But this chart that you see has the vowels, and it's on the left-hand side, you see the short vowels, long-hand side, you see the right-hand side, you see the long vowels. And then we have them in low and high. So folks can go ahead and unmute your mics. I'll say the vowels, starting with the short vowels, and then you can just repeat each one after me. So the first one is a single A, and there's no tone mark on it. So repeat after me, and then high tone short A, low short E, and high short E,
Lichéesh.
and low short I, high short I, U is just like in the word put. So repeat after me. And high tone. Okay, let's go to the long vowels. Ah, double O, ooh.
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 Ooh. Ooh.
Ooh. And then a
Ooh.
high, okay. And then a high tone, ooh.
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 Okay. Sometimes you'll hear these pronounced when you're first starting out as like ooh, and then the high tone will be said ooh. So yeah, I tend to, I'm at a point in my language learning where I've received feedback from elders that you're not necessarily inflecting your voice, but hopefully you can hear the difference in the tones, even just working on them today. And tones are very important because they apply meaning to what you're saying. So whereas in English, I might inflect my voice to let you know I'm asking you a question. And so I might ask a question that's like, is this what you want? No, it's a question because I inflected my voice. Whereas if I say, is this what you want? It's maybe more of like, I'm realizing this is what you want, or I'm being sarcastic and it's not a question. So Tlingit does not use inflection to signify a question, and we use words and particles. So we'll revisit that today, but I just want to kind of point out the difference between and English inflection. Any questions about the vowels? Okay. So we're going to use the beginning Tlingit workbook.
Anna, I'm going to troubleshoot. I think some of our friends are maybe on the old link. So I might need to stop recording to be able to minimize and do other things. So if so, I apologize, but I'm going to try to get everyone in here.
Okay, do you want me to record after you go?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna make you the host.
Oh.
And then I'll figure out, and then I'll troubleshoot what's happening. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
That's okay.
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, cool. So we'll splice our recordings together and we'll just keep going. Okay. Okay. Can you folks see the slide? All right.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so the beginning Tlingit workbook. Give me a thumbs up if you've used it before or you're familiar with it. Okay. Moving forward, we're gonna have some pretty straightforward lessons on these, and then we'll kind of see where it goes from there. I'll start incorporating other content. So let's go ahead and open up the beginning Tlingit workbook. I'll paste the link to it in the chat. And then I'll also show you how to find it online.
Quick question, Anna. This is Lorena. Is the workbook the new version of the Tlingit language?
Yeah, I'll show you how to find it.
Okay, I was able to print it out. So I made my binder.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, and because I'm a learner like from reading, so I had to print it because I like highlight and write on what I'm learning.
Okay.
So
And
awesome.
for folks who prefer to read not on a computer and like to write and stuff like that, they
Yes.
are available down at at the Sealaska building. I was able to pick mine up last week.
Okay, that's awesome. So if you're not able to buy it or you need to use the online copy in the meantime, I'll show you how I get there. You just go to tlingitlanguage.com and scroll down to resources. There's a tab for resources. Scroll down to beginning materials. And the first resource listed on this page is the beginning Tlingit workbook. You can click that. And it will take you to the PDF, the Google link of the PDF version. Okay. So today we're going to focus on starting on page 13. And what we'll do is learn some vocabulary, and then we'll work on drilling the vocabulary. So page 13 is the beginning of the chapter called Dasaya. And then okay, so just a heads up, this chapter has a lot of vocabulary, and we're going to focus. I can retain about 10 new words in one day or maybe 1 week. And so that's all we're going to focus on today. But as you can see, it's pretty long, so we'll have to break it down into multiple sections. So the first word, so you'll see a picture, and then to the right of it, the Tlingit caption, and then to the right of that, in light, smaller font, the English translation. The most important connection right now that you make is between the image and the sounds and words of the Tlingit. So if you need to kind of glance right and be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's a birch tree. Start visualizing birch and as you say the sound. Does that make sense? Okay. So we'll go through all these. Repeat after me. At daye.
At daya.
And remember,
Adaya.
okay,
Adaya.
Adaya.
okay. So what I'm looking for now here is the double A, long and low. So repeat after me.
Sorry, Anna. Because you're the host now, I think you have to let people in or pass co-hosting back to me. There's
Okay.
a few folks in a waiting room.
Okay, let me see if I can. I'll do that. Let me see. Let's see, Ati. I think I can make you. How do I? Oh, make co-host. Okay, did that work?
Yes, and now I can manage the waiting room. Thank you.
Okay, where were we? The first sound is long, low, ah. So repeat after me. Da.
Da. Da.
And then the second sound is Y and high tone I. So it's going to be short and high. So repeat after me. Yeah.
Yeah.
At da. Yeah.
At
Adaya.
Yeah.
There you go. I like it. Okay, next word. Tuss.
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 Sha what?
Shawat.
What?
What?
Okay. Okay. Ah.
Ah.
In.
In.
Te.
Te.
Okay.
Save.
State.
Thank you.
Sheye.
Hey.
Sheye.
Okay. I'm liking what I'm hearing. You guys are going long and high on shay and then short. Yeah. Yeah. Shay.
Sheye.
Dagatkiya.
Dagatkiya. Dagatkiya.
And then you'll also hear it. Digitkiya.
Dagatkiya.
Hit.
Hit.
Ayodati. And then you'll also hear it. Ayamdati. This T in parentheses signifies where you'll hear it, ayamdati. And so T is for Teslin area.
Ayamdati.
Keys.
Keys.
Nukshiyan. Shukshiyan. Okay.
Good.
The T is not hinged, so you won't snap it. You'll just kind of breathe it out. Good.
Good.
Okay. Got all those?
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna review them and then we're gonna jump into some fun drills. So let's review the vocabulary. I'll put my cursor by the word. Can you guys see my cursor here?
Yes.
Okay. I'll put my cursor by the word, and then I want you all to say it. And if you hear me repeat it after you, then I want you to repeat it after me. Okay? Are you all ready?
Ataye.
Okay.
In.
State.
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 Say.
Shay.
Sheye.
Say.
Repeat after me. Sheye.
Shay.
Say.
There you go.
Shay.
Mhm.
Teget.
Teget.
Gia.
Teget. Gia.
Teget. Gia.
Yeah.
Teget. Gia.
Mhm. And then the other pronunciation.
Teget. Gia.
Gia.
Okay.
Hit.
Hit.
Hit. Teget. Gia.
Teget. Gia.
Teget.
Gia.
Okay.
State.
State.
Mhm.
Say.
Te.
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 Hit.
Hit.
Okay.
Shay.
Say.
Shay. Shay.
Sheye.
Toss.
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 Okay, good memory. We're gonna move into some question and answer drills, but before we do that, let me show you the portion of the book where it explains this material. As we mentioned, the way you know you're being asked a question in Tlingit will come from particles and words that signify a question. And one of them is sa. So repeat after me, sa.
Ta.
For folks that are familiar with themes and conjugating verbs, there's some information for you here on the right-hand side. And basically, sa is the imperative form of the verb root sa. And so the verb root sa means for a subject to name an object, to nominate it. And so that's just kind of some background information for folks that are kind of like, where does this come from? But for now, you can suffice it to say that sa is if you hear that someone's telling you to say something or give them information. This next particle is used to draw attention to a particular word or concept within speech. It can add emphasis. So sometimes you might hear somebody say, Lichéesh, and that at the end is adding emphasis to the Lichéesh, the thank you. So repeat after me, This next illustration is meant to help you understand Tlingit sense of space. And so, has anyone ever heard ye awa?
Ye awa.
Yeah. That kind of means like, that's it, or yeah, that's so. But the weh part of it is also letting you know where in space and time the thing is you're talking about in relation to the speaker. Does that make sense?
Ye awa.
So this person illustrated is the Tóoch. It's the person speaking. And so these words ya, ha, wa, and yu are all meant to describe space in relationship to the speaker. So if somebody says, Lichéesh awa, they're saying, that's my dad. And the awa gives you an idea of where the dad is of the speaker. Or if he's standing right next to me, I might say, Lichéesh aya. And the ya signifies he's right here in my space. So the closest one, repeat after me, yeah.
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 And then if somebody's maybe across the table from you, they're right close, but maybe not quite in your reach, they would be ha.
Ha.
Mhm. And then out of arm's reach, maybe across the room, would be wah.
Well.
Mhm. And if I'm looking out my window and I'm seeing a mountain on the horizon, it would be yo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. So these particles will appear short or long depending on how they're used. So if I have a cup and I'm talking to you about it, cup is Tóoch. And I want to tell you, this is my cup. I would say ya Tóoch ya. So you hear the ya and ya. It's kind of letting you know it's right close to me is the thing I'm talking about. So the ya is like you'll see it long as well.
Blueberry.
Kanata.
Mhm. So this is to show that they could appear, these particles can appear short. If it's like, for example, part of a he, or if it's long, for a heyday. Okay, it's still same meaning, but used differently. So if I want to ask a question, repeat after me. Saya.
Saya.
Yeah.
Saya.
Asking what is this? So if I'm holding the thing and you're answering, you would say what it is and then say what. So for example, if I'm holding thread and I ask da saya, what would you say?
Pass away.
Awa, tas awa.
So,
Because it's in my hand, but for you, it's across the room. And inversely, if you have something and I want to ask what it is, I might say da sawa.
That's
so,
I'm asking you, what is that? And then you can answer. If you have thread in your hand, what would you say?
Pass aya.
yeah.
Pass aya.
Okay. The next few words that we'll include in our drills are, you can repeat after me, gusu.
Gusu.
Mhm. And so what is that asking?
Where?
Where is it? So if you hear that gusu,
So,
let yourself know in your mind, oh, someone's looking for something and they want to know where it is. So if I'm asking for my necklace, I might say gusu state. Repeat after me. Gusu. Okay. And so you heard how I'm asking a question. I didn't say gusu state. And I like that I heard you say it as well. You stayed long and low because state is long and low. Yeah, gusu state. So if you have the necklace and it's in your hand, you would say "Ya du say."
Ja, du say.
Yeah, do
do
say.
Ja, du say.
If it's kind of near you but not in your hands, you would say "Hey du say."
Hey, du
Hey,
say.
do say.
do say.
If it's maybe like on the desk over there, "Way du say."
Way.
Way do say.
And you see it outside on the ground in the parking lot. You do say.
You do say.
You do say.
You do
You
say.
do say.
Okay, have you guys seen this particle before? Yeah.
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 Okay.
So I'm seeing some heads nod. Geh is also lets you know that the person is asking a question. And in around Teslin or car cross, you'll hear it. It'll sound like geh.
G.
So this makes it a yes or no question. If I have a sate and I say "Seitega," what am I asking you?
Sorry, ask again.
Do you have the necklace?
It's kind of like is it a necklace? Seitega. Yeah, I guess that one was kind of hard. It's just asking you a yes or no question. So yes would be ah.
Ah.
Mhm. It's not written with a high tone in this book, but usually the last A will have a high tone. And then no is like.
Like.
Fake.
Like.
My son loves this one.
Or you'll also hear it like.
Like.
Was that second pronunciation that you did? Was that the first writing there?
No, the first.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's either going to be A or I.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
And
There.
and Anna, is that like interior versus where we are? Those two different pronunciations?
I think with this one, it will vary. It also depend on the speaker. So since it's not noted with an area, like a geographic area in parentheses, the way you'll see, like with a T in parentheses, this is kind of more just like variation you'll hear. It could be between speakers, personal place. Okay, so let's get into our question and answer drills. Are there any questions so far about what we just learned?
Click.
Okay. Okay, so I'll ask the questions and you all. So, Saya.
Yeah.
Get away.
Get away.
Okay. Saya.
Hit away.
Hit
Away.
Away.
Saya.
Sit away.
Sit
Away. Away.
Okay. Sawa.
Shay.
Aya.
Yeah.
Shay. Aya.
Shay.
Aya.
Okay, I threw a little curveball at you, switched up the questions, but caught right on. Good. Sawa.
Het
Aya.
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 Da sawa.
In. Aya.
In
Aya.
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 Da saya.
Shawat.
Shawat away.
Awet away.
Awa. Aya.
Da sawa.
Aya.
Aya.
Okay. So you guys nailed those really good. Let's drill some of our spatial questions, asking where is it? So I put these slides together. Your vocabulary word is up in the upper left. And I'll ask you, for example, where is it? And then you'll answer the response. And to confirm this in your mind, I also put an arrow where the item is spatially to you. So, for example, it might be like a picture of the atadaye, but it's going to be right close to you. So let's give it a try. Gusu atadaye.
Yadu. Ataya.
Okay.
Ataye.
Gusu atadaye.
Edu.
Edu ataya.
Edu.
ataya.
Gusu say.
We
Wedu.
do.
It,
Say.
they do. It.
Okay. Gusu hit.
You do hit.
You do.
You do hit.
You do hit.
Da saya.
Toss
Toss
away.
away.
Awesome. You guys did great. Drills can be a little uncomfortable, but your memories are good. Your participation is awesome. Do folks have any questions so far about drills or comments about what we learned?
I have one question. When you're writing, because the words within the phrase will indicate it's a question, do you use a question mark in it or no?
I do. I've heard someone say before that they don't, but I do use a question mark when I write a question, even though what signifies the question is the particle. For example, dasa or gusu or aga. So those are the things that let me know it's a question. But when I'm writing, I still will use a question mark. The difference I would stress with folks is, like, for example, if you're reading a script for a play, you're practicing with your friends in English, if I see there's a question mark at the end, in my mind, I'm going to see the question mark first and go, okay, this is a question. And I automatically will inflect my voice. It lets me know how to read that line in the script. Whereas Shinget, reprogram your mind when you're speaking. If you see a question mark, don't let that make you inflect your voice at the end of the sentence. Does that make sense?
Yeah, writing it initially, I think it's more helpful to leave it off just because we do as a tendency do that, like inflect as soon as you see it. But I was just curious in regular Tlingit writing whether it's there or not.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, do what works for you. And I did hear Chuck Sonny Shirley Kendall mention she doesn't use question marks because she relies on the particles.
And
Um,
I don't want to take up space if it doesn't fit here, but I got a message and I'm trying to figure out how to translate. And I've actually like never in the live tried to do that before. So even just from this class, I can see like the second part's a question. And also thinking like, if I throw this comment in the chat for others to see, will you just guide like where to start in terms of like, I want to be able to respond to this person, where to pick out what words as I'm trying to navigate like real live translation. I'm feeling like an uber beginner.
Oh yeah. Let's do it. Can I just paste it from the chat on the slide?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
I didn't paste, I think what's a person's name before do.
Okay.
But so that's the one part that's missing.
Yeah, let's just do it. Make this bigger.
Real live learning and, you know, opportunities of translation.
Didn't realize my volume was on.
You're good. You're sounding good. Keep going.
That was awesome.
I can finish the rest.
Yeah.
I'll try. Lichéesh sa kwati.
Okay. Oh no.
And so is that last line asking how the weather is going to be?
Let's break it down. Yeah. So the whole sentence is Tóoch yi ha hitite Ḥukaháa ha imshkun itach helke wasakwati. Okay, so let's break this down. We see some questions here. How do we know these are questions?
Wasa,
The ge.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then we do have a question mark here, but even if we don't, we know that's a question. Do you see any other question words or particles in these two sentences? Let me separate them.
Isn't wasa iat like how are you? So wasa feels like a question because that's how I normally see that.
Yeah, so if wasa is a question, what question is it asking?
How are?
How, yeah, how are.
Or how is?
Mm-hmm. So this might be a little advanced. Has anyone seen this type of prefix on a verb before?
Yeah, so in one of the other classes, they were saying anytime you have the G and the W next to each other, that usually represents a future tense.
Mm-hmm. This is a
So something that's about to happen.
Yeah, and then what is this word? Hesh. Not, yeah.
Wait, what was het again?
Hesh is a variation of lichéesh or klesh. It means not. It's a negative word. So if I were to kind of break this down, if I were taking notes in class and my teacher tells me what this means, I would kind of chunk it or color code it like this. So I'll do it in front of you. So we have not, and then we have gewasa. It's like a yes or no question. And then wasa is like how. And then this prefix Ḳukaháa is future form. And then the T is like to be. So don't be intimidated by this. It's just sort of an introduction or a little taste of how do we translate sentences from Tlingit to English. This is real life stuff. Somebody wrote me this email. I know they're asking a question, but what are they saying? And so I would translate this sentence. So I have what here's, you might call a gloss. It's just a very elementary gloss. And then the translation to the final translation in English, I might say, will it be okay? Okay, let me change the color of this wasa because it actually goes with hech. So has anyone ever heard the phrase kech wasa? For example, if someone asks you wasa iati, you might say kech wasa.
Is that like I'm okay?
It means I'm okay, but it kind of more literally means nothing's wrong. So heshwasa is kind of like, I would translate it as, is it okay? And then since I'm seeing the question and also the future, I know that they're asking, will it be okay? Does that make sense? Okay, it's just a very like intro taste. We're leveling up. We're doing our drills. You guys are obviously very comfortable with drills and vocabulary so far. Now I'm just kind of pushing you a little bit farther to kind of reach, because it's important to do that. We're running out of time, but I'm going to include this question in our slide next week, and we'll continue working on it because this is a good exercise. And before we go, I wanted to share an example of study habits that you can implement this week if you're ready. One of the questions last week was, what has worked for me as a learner to advance in language? And I spent the last 2 years learning Tlingit and teaching full time. And so I had to make room in my life for building fluency, but also learning how to teach. And so what helps me, I did some research on implementing new habits in my life. And a very like key tip I took away was make your habits sustainable. So as this applies to Tlingit language study, if you're trying to include some study in your weekly practice, be kind to yourself and do something you know you can achieve. So for example, for me, when I started watching videos of fluent elders speaking, I knew I wanted that regular immersion, that regular exposure. But in order to make that become something I can do every day or every week, I just start really small, like maybe in the morning during, take 10 minutes out of my morning routine, drinking my coffee, watching a YouTube video. For me, that's enjoyable because I have the coffee and, light a scented candle, do things that kind of make it, you look forward to it. And that it's very like, oh yeah, I could do that for 10 minutes, no problem. So yeah, connecting your study habit with a source of joy, whether that's tea, coffee, a good scent, a smell, something, make room for them a little bit at a time. And just kind of like, this is all to say, be kind to yourself and just try to make small adjustments, because over time for me, that has worked to where, this is my full-time life now. So a little bit at a time. And so for example, I drafted up this week at a glance for you. This is not to say this is your assignment. This isn't to say you have to do this right now. It's just to give ideas. Like for me, how did I make space in my time when I was starting out throughout my week to incorporate more language study? And you can pick and choose if any of these options work for you, but please don't feel like you have to do all these right now. Okay, so jumping ahead to Friday, since our classes are on Friday morning, I put our morning activities kind of on top here and maybe like afternoon or evening activities in the bottom. So Friday mornings, we have our weekly class meeting. We practice and then we receive a new assignment. The weekend comes, take your weekend to rest up, have fun, refill your cup, do what you need to do. Maybe on Monday morning, if I have to be at work at 8, I'll probably get up at 6:30 and like stretch, drink my coffee, whatever I need to do to feel good in my day. But I'll probably spend 10 or 15 minutes of that time either reading through my workbook assignment or watching YouTube of a fluent elder speaking. That might be an option for you. Or on Tuesday afternoon or evening, maybe I'm trying to habit stack. So I've gotten through a long day of work. Now I'm in the mood to socialize. I want to see people. Okay, maybe I'll socialize with somebody from my class and we'll have tea and work on our assignment together. I'm like spending an hour with somebody. It's time that lifts me up, fulfills me, and we're working on our homework. So this was how I started my study group when I was in beginning. And that's exactly what we did. We brought snacks and practiced with our vocabulary, which at that time, we didn't have this workbook yet. So we drew our own pictures for vocabulary, but it was fun. Okay, I know we're coming up on time, but just a quick brief run through of some other ideas. Maybe again in the morning on Wednesday, I'm up again, I'm drinking coffee, watching sun come through the window, and watching another 10 minutes of recorded speaker in the morning. Thursday evening, I don't know if folks are, signing into the UAS free online classes or watching those classes on YouTube in the evening. That's an option. Or maybe again, you meet with a friend and practice your phrases. And then on Friday, we're back together again. So these are just ideas to answer the question, what helped me advance, like what kind of things worked for me. So your homework is to practice your vowels, and I'll link this in the chat, and then go ahead and take a screenshot of this, or I can paste it in the chat as well. But today we practiced vocabulary on pages 15 to 17. So let's try to internalize those, make them second nature if they're not already. And then look ahead to the next vocabulary words, pages 18 to 19. And so you don't have to have them all memorized. I think it's 10 new words, but be familiar with them. Practice, have practice saying them and stuff like that. And then go ahead and practice those question and answer drills, page 29 to 30. And consider starting a study group. Like I said, you can start small with one person This doesn't have to be really formal, but as you end up meeting up with more people, if your group expands and grows, Ati and I both have support for you in terms of a Zoom link you can use if you prefer to meet online. Just shoot us an email. Any questions about that? Okay.
And Anna, for those folks who might prefer to have paper, is it true that the new version of this workbook is available? And is it at SHI, or where can folks find a physical copy if they want that?
Sasha Gowdy.
I found one down at the Alaska building in the gift
Okay.
shop.
And I have
And
to say,
sorry, go ahead, Jay.
I was just gonna say, because I'm not in Juneau and through Alaska to mail it, the
actually shipping was ridiculous, really crazy high. So I have to say I got it through Amazon. I don't love Amazon, but the shipping was really expensive.
Okay.
Well, you're not the only one who got it from Amazon, it looks like. Yeah, so yeah, sometimes we do what we got to do to make it make sense.
Okay.
So we'll start.
Oops, sorry. I accidentally clicked this video that I'm gonna post in chat real quick. If folks need more help on your vowels, go to this link. And it's pronouncing the vowels. Actually, all the sounds, so you can review those. Great. Well, if there's no more questions, have a great rest of your day and an awesome weekend. And we'll see you back here Friday morning at 10.
Cisha.
Wednesday.
Cisha.
Okay. Thank you. Wednesday. Class is Wednesday.
Cisha.
Lichéesh, Suye, Kwasatin.
Okay, click the team.
Lichéesh.
So, Anna, I think that KTOO folks didn't register, and so they didn't get those emails. So I just forwarded them to Cheryl, but I'll follow up with her directly to make sure that that last piece is very clearly communicated. So we're all, and also I'll remind folks about Wednesday, because I think they missed that beginning piece. And the Zoom, the recording got split again. So it's like, who knows?
And then I told them Friday just now instead of Wednesday.
I'll send an email and I'll include Cheryl and I'll ask her if she wants to share other emails or just be the link to confirm. And then if you have 3 minutes, will you just give me guidance on